What's up, guys? So I got another breakdown video for you, kind of how last one I broke down my macros and how to kind of distribute them. Today I've got one on training terminology. I got my notes right here, so this one is going to be on rest, RPE, tempos, and supersets. And this is more so how I program, and then some of my opinions on the matter. So first one being rest. I believe that rest is pretty subjective, and this is more strength training, so this isn't really talking about like intervals or anything. So this is strictly just strength, because I believe in intervals, what you see programmed should pretty much be rock solid. Maybe with slight variance, 5 to 10 seconds maybe, depending on how long the distance is and stuff. It's a little more complex than it is in training. So with training rest, if your goal is just to gain some size, strength, even fat loss for that matter, for the most part, it's a lot of subjectiveness. And if you ever see any of my prescribed rests, it can range from 45 seconds to 2 minutes. It really just depends upon how quickly you recover, because so let's say I put a solid rest time at 45 seconds. Well, for you on a heavy set of squats, for set at let's say 8 to 10, 45 seconds could be just to where you got your belt off and maybe your knee sleeves pulled down if they're really tight. You're probably not ready to come back under the bar yet to have a quality set. So that's why I think rest is pretty subjective, and that's why I typically give a range. So next one is RPE. This is a big one, and if you're in the strength training niche or field, you probably hear this a lot. It's called rate of perceived exertion. So typically, I believe the large scale for cardio is from 6 to 20. I like to simplify it 1 to 10, even more simple, like 5 or 6 to 10. Really think of the pain scale. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does this hurt? Typically a 10 is like absolutely excruciating. I broke my femur. 10 should be very grindy. You have 0 reps left in the tank. If it was prescribed 10 RPE, 10, you have 0 reps left. Like, you cannot grind out an 11th. Now, a lot of people typically undershoot this, I find, or you have the hardcore gym goers that always overshoot it. Undershooting meaning if you see a prescribed rest or RPE of 8, and that means you should have about 2 left in the tank. They say, oh my god, dude, like that was an 8 or 9, and you look at it and like no form breakdown, not even grinding, no shakiness or nothing, probably wasn't an 8. Typically 10 is about failure, 8 is about 2 left in the tank, 7, 3, 6, 4, basically working backwards. I hope that makes sense. It's a very basic way to gauge, and next is tempo. I'll typically use three numbers for a tempo. Typically you'll see it as like a 3-1-0, 3 second eccentric, so 3 seconds lowering in the rep. So if we're talking about a bicep curl, it's 3 seconds from the top down, 1 second pause, 0 seconds on the way up. Okay, so same thing with like a squat, 3 seconds down, 1 second pause in the hole, 0 seconds up. Now, if you were to do it in a 4 number one, 3 seconds down, 1 second pause, 0 seconds up, 1 second hold at the top before the next rep. That's a very easy one. I always tell my clients, use a controlled tempo. Sometimes you won't even see one written. It's just to be known that you want to control it. You don't want to be blowing through the reps. You want to have quality reps. And then lastly, supersets. So typically these ones are done back to back. The definition of a superset is agonist-antagonist muscle. All that means is the muscle on the front of your body and the muscle on your back, essentially. That would be like a bicep and a tricep exercise back to back with minimal rest in between. Compound set, on the other hand, is back to back on the same muscle group. They're virtually interchangeable. Don't worry about the little minutiae with it or whatever. If they say superset, it's just to be done with minimal rest. Really, that's all it is. You don't need to overcomplicate it. And how those are performed, you really just want to go from the first exercise, let's say A1 to A2 with minimal rest, maybe 5-10 seconds, however long it takes you to get to the next area that you're doing that exercise. And then afterwards, take your rest. Typically anywhere from like I said earlier, 45 seconds to 2 minutes. It's completely subjective upon you. Excuse me. It's really just a way to condense a session or to just pump more volume into a session if need be, if you're at an overreach week or you're really just trying to push the envelope on something. And that's really all I got for you guys. There'll be a nice little write-up here too that you can read. I hope I answered some questions, and hopefully this helps out any of my clients or any gym goers on the daily that they see an article written about RPE or something of the such. Now you're kind of equipped with a little bit of knowledge to go into that article.